What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, bring incredible guests from all over the world. So sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest has got a long list of accolades, but I'm going to highlight only a few. She is an advanced level 3 soul realignment practitioner, a Kundalini Yoga teacher, a Qigong level 2 teacher, and a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. She considers herself a way shower. Please welcome Dr. Julie Hutsell-Starling. Dr. Julie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Deanna. Nice to see you.
I love all the things. I feel like people like you really allow others to heal at a much deeper level. And I only mentioned a few of the tools in your toolbox. So I kind of want to hear what set you on the path of learning all these modalities and doing what you do.
Yeah. So it has been really my whole adult life. I've been kind of on this path. And the thing that got me on the healing journey path was I developed repetitive stress injury from using a computer. I was fresh out of undergrad, and I was working at a place where I was doing a lot of computer work, and I got tendonitis in my elbow and then in my wrist. And I was young and didn't know that you should pay attention to your body when you're in pain. And instead, I was just popping ibuprofen and Tylenol and, just doing the things until it got really bad. And my elbow was super inflamed and swollen. And I finally mentioned something to one of my coworkers, and she said, you should probably tell HR about that. And so that started the whole process of going to physical therapy and occupational therapy, and they referred me to everything. The inflammation was just so bad, and I ultimately had to stop working because nothing was really. It was helping. Like, I went off and worked for, I don't remember even how long, and then I came back slowly. But it was like, it just kept coming back, basically. Yeah. And it wasn't until the doctor on staff at this workers' comp clinic that happened to be in San Francisco at the time, back at in 2000, referred me to an acupuncturist that they had on staff in the hospital clinic, which was incredible back then. And he's like, well, nothing else has worked, so you might as well try acupuncture. Yeah. Always the last resort thing. And lo and behold, it started to help. So I had already decided at that point that I was going to not do what I had been planning to do, which is do a master's in public health. I knew I wanted to be in the health field, but I wanted to be more one-to-one with people. And I also wanted a career where I wouldn't have to be on the computer all the time. Because clearly my body was telling me,
not for you.
Yeah, right. And so I was just looking around at what possibly I could do. It never occurred to me that I could study Chinese medicine until a friend of mine suggested that I study Chinese medicine because it had been so helpful for me. And I thought, well, I can't do that. And I was like, well, why can't you do that?
Yeah, right.
So anyway, so that's kind of just randomly how it happened. And really now looking back on it, I know it was not an accident that all of this happened. It was not an accident that my body, that I got pain from this. Our bodies are always communicating to us and telling us that we're not aligned, that we're not really living into who we really could be living into, right? And so that was my body's way of guiding me at a very young age, mid-20s, to get on the right path.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd say that was like, this is not for you. Don't do this. You're not supposed to be at a computer. Your gifts are way more than you realize. And so, I think that's awesome. I've never tried acupuncture, but I've heard great things. My family's a big believer in it, and I just I've never done it. I mean, I think that it's an awesome thing to get done and to do. So then what was your next modality that you learned?
Yeah. So in acupuncture school, we, part of our training was learning Qigong practice, or as you call it, Qigong, but
No,
Qigong. Yeah. So Qigong and medical Qigong kind of came along with our training. And so So that I just learned as a part of the schooling process. And then once I was out of school for a few years and treating patients, I realized I really wanted to have more tangible tools that I could offer people, especially in the way of kind of food and nutrition and all of those things. So I then became a health coach. I did training to become an integrative nutrition health coach. And so then I had a whole bunch more tools that I could really use to, because I really love helping people take control of their own health, right? It's like I didn't want them to be reliant on me every week to come in to feel better. It's
Yeah,
like
right.
I spent a lot of time working with people to give them tools, more water, do all the,
All the
breathing techniques, all the things. Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's why I got into health coaching. Also because I was having my own issues with migraines and digestive issues. And I wanted to get the root cause and see what was going on with that. And I don't know that it was the root cause, but definitely the things that I did that I learned about definitely helped them greatly.
That's awesome.
And yes. And so then I Kundalini Yoga training was the next, the teacher training. Yeah. And that was what cracked open my whole world, if you will. Of just,
So
like,
what is that? I've
Kundalini
talked
Yoga.
about this one other time and I don't remember.
Yeah. So Kundalini Yoga is very different from any other yoga practice. It uses mantra chanting sound from your own voice, in addition to a whole bunch of different breathwork practices, plus different movements and different hand postures and all these different things combined. It's called the yoga of awareness. It is very much working to, I always talk about with my students, it's like bringing you back home to you.
Yeah.
And it does that. It's a much more spiritual practice than how most yoga is practiced today, at least here in the US. So it's a very powerful practice. It's very transformative. And for me, it happened at a time, the training happened, my mother passed away 6 weeks into my teacher training, very fast process that for dying, like it all happened very fast. So the training really helped me to heal and kind of just integrate all of everything, process everything from, And then, and it really cracked my soul wide open. And I realized, oh, wow, there's so much more for me.
Yeah.
And but all along the way, I've been struggling with burnout in my private practice of acupuncture. So, burnout really set in probably about 3 years after being out of school. And it would kind of ebb and flow. I would think I got a handle on it, and then it would come back. And I think I got a handle on it again, and it came back. And then the third time that it really happened, I was just like, what is going on? Like, I thought I did all the things. I have all these tools. I've done all these things. And why isn't it getting better?
Yeah.
And that's what really spurred me to then. So I had the Kundalini Yoga training really started opening my eyes to, okay, maybe things to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And then I doing the Akashic Records training, learning really, and so the soul realignment practitioner.
Oh, okay. I was like,
the
what is
Akashic
that?
Records. Yeah, sorry, I realized I didn't say that. I learning who I am at like my soul level gifts. And this is what I walk people through a lot, is really understanding who you are at soul level. And when you understand that, then you also understand how you have not been living into who you really are up until now.
Yeah.
So that I realized was a huge piece of the root cause of the burnout, was that I was basically a round peg trying to fit into the square hole.
Yeah.
In a lot of different areas of my life, but specifically in my practice and in my business.
Okay.
And so that's when the unraveling started, of letting go of the identities of who I had been up until then. And I think it started with my mother's death, honestly. And then it continued from there, because we had a very troubled, really, she was an alcoholic. And so I grew up in a very kind of traumatic childhood, and she's a single mom. So it was just a really intense relationship.
Yeah.
Um, and so there was a lot of healing from that, of course, but there's just a lot of beliefs and a lot of compensation you do, right? When you're in a situation like that, when you're young, of just
Yeah.
that you take on of like, for me, it was always having to prove myself, always having to prove that I was worthy of love and respect, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah. And in so doing, I felt like, well, I had to do this. I had to be this person. I had to do this, get that degree, do this, do that, fit in, have the success, do that in order to prove myself.
Yeah.
But all of those things were actually taking me away from who I really was.
Is that funny
And
how that happens?
I mean, it's yeah, and that's how most people are living, right? It's just you don't realize it that you're so caught up in it, right? And so, um, yeah, so all of the unraveling really started with the Kundalini Yoga teacher training, and then with the Akashic records, all of that, and then just I started reimagining that, oh, maybe I can do things differently, and maybe my practice looks a lot different than what I've been forcing it to be up until now.
Mm, that's awesome. It feels like everything, like in your life path, you've experienced something that puts you on a new path to create this person that you are today. And you actually listened. I think a lot of people don't listen and they just keep going like a bulldozer, and where they don't tap into these gifts and all these tools that they can apply to their life. I think it's so beautiful.
Yeah. And, I've asked myself often kind of, well, why was it that, when I had the chronic pain in my 20s, like I could have chosen to keep going
Yeah.
and like just barrel through. And, I had a pain specialist tell me that I was going to be in pain for the rest of my life and I'd have to be on pain meds for the rest of my life, 27 years old, telling you that, right?
No.
And for me, I was like, no,
Yeah.
hell no, that is not going to be me. And so I'm grateful that I had that. It's like this voice inside of me, just like, no, this is not for us, and I'm grateful that even though there were many, many times when I was not listening to it,
Yeah.
many times, I'm grateful that at the most pivotal times, and sometimes I had to be in that rock bottom place
Right.
in order to finally let myself hear it and heed the guidance, right? And so, because believe me, these all of these things I've told you about, like they did not come easily for me. I have always
I don't
been.
think it ever does. I don't think it ever does come easily. That's why a lot
No,
of people don't ever really pursue like their true calling. And so that's why we're here having this conversation, because
right.
it's a beautiful thing to talk about. Um, who is your ideal client?
My ideal client is someone who is just so she knows she can't go on the way she is
Yeah.
without any. She's just going through the motions every single day and very uncomfortable in her body, in the sense of maybe has pain or just feels overweight or just not knows she's not having healthy habits. But most importantly, she has like this feeling that should be doing more. Not should as in like an obligation, but literally like she's meant for more.
Yeah.
And but she has no idea what it is or how to get to it. And also really has this idea that it's possible to maybe have enjoyment and joy in her life,
Yeah.
but has no idea how that could possibly be, because right now it's just so mute basically and so void of any pleasure and fun and joy.
Oh, that's terrible. That's a terrible place to be. Um, and then how do you know what type of modality or tool to use in your toolbox with your clients? Because I always think
Yes.
it's interesting when you're armed with all this stuff. How is it not like impossible to not want to use all of them? Like, because it wouldn't be effective doing that, right?
Well, it depends. Yeah. And what I've learned over time from my own experiences is that uh, I've started basically doing what you were just saying, like, well, it's just one or the other. And now I realize that actually all of it works together, and I'm finding ways that I'm blending it. So, but always 99.9% of the cases, I always start with looking at their Akashic record, the soul realignment reading, to understand who they are at soul level, to understand what their soul level gifts, look at past life karmic patterns that have come up that have been keeping them from aligning to who they really are in this lifetime. I always looked at that first, because when I know who they are at soul level, I mean, always when I am working with them, I always, I see you, like I see your soul, but having that extra information of, oh, this is how you're actually designed. And so if we approach it from this perspective, you're going to thrive, right? And so I do that first. And then from there, it's like our guidepost to kind of with the light of just kind of guiding our way of coming into alignment, back into alignment with who they really are. And as they do start taking those baby steps, it starts creating more momentum and positive feedback that they keep moving forward in that direction.
Yeah. And now when your clients come to you, are they already a spiritual type of person, or do they have to open themselves up to, because a lot of the stuff that you do is very spiritual. And so I know that not all people are open to some of the things that you do.
Right. So they just need to be open.
Okay.
Yeah, they just need to be open. I mean, I actually now I'm really another thing that I'm almost like calling myself, like I said, a wayshower, but also like a lion awakener. Like I really have this vision of these. There's so many people out there right now who are these sleeping lions who are just, oh gosh, they're just so beautifully powerful in like the most loving way possible, with potential for a huge purpose in this world of really having huge impact when we need it so much now, right?
Yeah.
And they know it at some level. They don't know that they're a lion, but they know that there's something. But they are really, depending on where they are in their level of awakening to the fact of like, but as long as they are open to the possibilities of, well, where could this take me, right? Where could I go with this? That's all that matters. They just have to be open.
Do you have like a success story that you could share with us?
Yeah, I mean, one is coming to mind right now. When she reached out to me, she was just feeling so stuck in her life, and she had been in the same career for 25, 30 years, and really work was her life. That was all. It was like the only thing that she did. I mean, she worked all the time.
Yeah.
She was really good at it, and she enjoyed the work as long as it was a healthy, helpful work environment.
Sure.
And then as soon as things started to go wrong there, then it really threw her off completely. Right. And so then it was just like she would spin downwards. And yeah, and it really impacted the whole rest of her being was when things were off with work. And so, she didn't feel healthy at all in her body. She wasn't able to everything that I described, basically, she didn't have good habits of taking care of herself. She just wasn't in a good spot at all.
No balance whatsoever.
Yeah, she had no balance. It was all work, and she wasn't even finding joy in work anymore. So it was like there was no glimmers of light in her life. So when we started working together, and she was brand new to all of it. She had never done anything. So everything that I was talking about to her was new. And in fact, so it was a great learning experience for me, because I have talked about awareness. Like in the readings, we talked a lot about, okay, so, this is who you are at soul level. And now you're going to start to see how you've been choosing something different than what would be aligned for you. Right. And I talked about kind of these awareness bombs kind of popping in of like, oh my gosh, I see it here. I see it here. I see it here. But she didn't even understand the concept of awareness.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah. In the sense of like, she just had never really even thought about it. Right. And so it was like, I had to bring awareness to what awareness was.
Yeah.
Which was so beautiful. And I was just, oh my gosh, thank you for telling me, because I didn't even, and so that's how fresh and new she was to everything. And yet she took what we were doing and she ran with it. And it was just so beautiful to watch her
come alive at that.
Come alive, starting to have a little bit of fun. And most importantly, she started to trust herself. So most people that I work with don't trust themselves at all. And a huge benefit of our work is that the second guessing yourself goes away.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, right? Because that's how I used to live a while ago, but it's miserable when you're in that place of just not knowing which way to go. Never, and even when you do make a choice, then oh gosh, that was the wrong thing, like it's just crazy making, right? It's just so she started trusting herself and she started using her voice in a way that really served her, because that was somewhere where she was really shut down and afraid of really living into. And so it's just really beautiful to watch her just come around.
Is she still in the same position or does she change jobs?
So the job has kind of come up and down, like ebbed and flowed. She is in the same job, but she's found ways to have joy outside of work too. So she's good. She has balance, and when the job isn't going as well, it's not throwing her off like it used to.
Yeah.
And she's creating much more balance in her relationship as well. So it's just, she's a beautiful person to have in my life. I'm just so honored to be able to work with her.
That's awesome. I love it. Where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more on working with you, Dr. Julie?
Yeah, so it's drjuliehutzel-starling.com. It's a mouthful. And from there, you can sign up for my email list, and you can sign up for our complimentary discovery call with me to see if working together feels like a great fit. If you have certain, desires or really what you're really yearning for in your life, to see if we can create that together.
I love that. And any social media?
Yes, on Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome.
2 places to find me. Yeah.
You guys, we put some links in the show notes. So if you connect with Dr. Julie, want to learn more on working with her, she does work remotely with people all over the world. Don't hesitate to go click that link, check her out, set up your free discovery call, and go follow her on social. Dr. Julie, this is the part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today? Get that one out.
So I would say really lean into trusting yourself. So we talked about this before, because we all have that voice within us that is guiding us. And it's always that very, very, very first thought that comes in, until our brain comes in, shuts it down with like, well, no, but, oh, well, yeah, but, well, yeah, shuts it down. That very first whisper of inspiration or of guidance or of a knowing, that is what you need to trust. And if you can just start allowing yourself to trust that voice, that's your highest self, that's your highest knowing, right? That it's really God within you speaking.
Yeah.
If you can just listen to it, things will get so much better, so much faster in your life. It makes things so much more peaceful. Creates a lot of peace when you can just start listening to that trust.
Yes, I love that. Beautiful. Dr. Julie, thank you so much. And thank you for allowing yourself to trust your soul purpose in your journey and bring you to where you are today, because people like you help others heal and really find that balance and that maybe their purpose in life, because I think a lot of us are so lost. So we need you. So thank you so much.
And thank you. I'm so happy to be here, and my honor.
You're
Pleasure.
welcome. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcasts. Live your best life. You must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.